Okay, well, first of all, welcome. I'm Tom Vasel.
Sam Healey, hello.
I'm Zee Garcia. Hi, everybody.
And welcome to our Q&A live at UK Games Expo, June 4th, 2017. We're glad you're here.
Very good, thank you.
We also, besides the three of us, we have Jay Howlett, Preacher 18 from Preacher18.com. And she's going to, where is the roving mic? Do we have a roving mic? Yes, Jay's going to do our questions for us because she's so good at that. But if you have a question for her, you can also ask her. You can also ask Dave Luza. Dave, raise your hand. And if you have a question for him and how he sings so well. But before we take any questions...
The green light says it's on, actually.
Before we take any questions, we'd like to clarify a few things. We really like it here. Okay? It's a great country. We went to London and saw Tower London, and we saw Westminster Abbey. We went to Ely, saw a cathedral there, and we went to Cambridge. The food here is great. Yes, Zee has had a pudding. And your convention is just as good as the ones in America.
Now half the audience gets up and leaves.
Actually, this may be surpassing Origins for me.
And they all come back and sit down.
It's not a turf war. Is there anything else I missed?
I don't know. I've been getting a lot of the, what are you doing after the show? I'm like, going home.
We literally have 1 week to prepare
right back around
for Origins, and we need to take at least 1 or 2 days off, probably.
That would be great, boss.
Yes, please.
So, because Origins is even more intensive for us because we stream live from there. So you can watch it if you're awake when we stream at Origins, I think. Yes. So you can watch that live. We'll be talking to all the publishers. And maybe, is anyone here going to Origins? That would be interesting. And then in 2 weeks after Origins is Dice Tower Con. So it's a busy month for us.
This is crunch time, yeah.
So, all right. So whatever questions you might have, if we could stay off politics,
Why did we bring Sam?
All right, so Jay has full ability to pick whoever she wants. You got to impress her. So we'll take questions if there is any.
Oh, we're in trouble.
Thank you then. Have a good day.
Shortest Q&A ever.
All right, thanks.
I cut it off at the beginning.
Hello.
Hello.
This is a joke question. Just recently saw one of your Tom's review videos. Is there a game you've reviewed or played that you disliked more than Mr. Game?
More than what?
It's about 3 years ago that you did the video, so you might not remember.
Mr. Game.
No, more than Mr. Game. One-upmanship is worse. Phase 10 is worse.
That's it.
If you go on Board Game Geek and look at my ratings, if I rated it a 1, it's pretty similar. There's just some things that aren't games, and I have very low tolerance. I mean, if you look at my ratings, I often say I really dislike a game, and then I'll give it a 5, because I felt like they were trying. If I give it a 4, that means they tried, but too bad. When we get down to 3, 2s, and 1s, I feel like the effort wasn't even put into the game. So that's why our ratings are all skewed towards higher, because I think most publishers put some sort of effort into their game. But if they don't, we're going to say so. Nicely.
Whoa.
Yeah, see now the domino effect has begun.
Prime
Prime the pump a little bit.
Tom's probably known for his being opinionated on pies almost as much as he is on games. But
Pies.
Pies and hats, yes.
But he's mostly limited that discussion to dessert pies. So, what are your favourite savoury pies?
I'm enjoying these questions
This is
a lot.
off to a great start.
Actually, when it comes to savory pies, I'm pretty happy across the board. I like
Number
chicken.
10.
No, I don't really have one. I think I guess I would pick steak over chicken, maybe. But I really like them a lot. I had them a lot when I was a kid. And every once in a while, my wife makes one. I don't really care what she puts in. She can just take the fridge and pour it in, and I will be okay.
I don't think you really realize what you just said.
Oh, I know what I said.
So with this convention having so many games that are in development or in prototype stage, are there any that have impressed you, and do you dare name them?
That was the other question I forgot to mention at the beginning.
Yeah, that's been your fit, yeah.
So no. The thing is we're in a very weird position because we see a lot of games like Yamatai. This is the first time you've seen it. You know, it's
Oh, it
here.
is.
But we talked about it a month or so ago, and so we forget sometimes that a game is new, and we've just happened to see it early. So if there's one thing I'm not keen on at this convention, publisher-wise, and I know you've talked about this
We
before,
talked about this,
in
yeah.
conventions in general, I'm getting a little discouraged to see so many stands where they have a game that's actually not for sale. It's for the Kickstarter. That's fine. I don't mind that so much. I wish it was a little bit more obvious, like, well, this is great. Can I buy? No, it's not out yet. But then once the game is published, they never come back. You know, you look at all the people who had Kickstarters last year, some of them published the game. They're not here. It seems like they don't care about selling the game afterwards. And that bugs me because that hurts the show in general, I think. You go to a show, oh, I want to see some new things I can buy, and there's too much stuff that's in the future. And I think we should talk about the future, that's fine. But what about the games that were published? And publishers, they want your money, some of these guys, but they don't want it, like, I don't know. If you publish a game, go to conventions afterwards. Keep that game alive. People appreciate that. They want to see more about the game. They might have missed the Kickstarter. That doesn't answer your question at all. I'm stalling.
I will say that the one game that I've played that is new and it is a demo of a prototype that the designer is publishing is Warp Game. Won't Designer. Guards of Atlantis is their other game that they produced last year and released at Essen. I like that one, and he actually showed me a prototype of it, an early prototype of it at Essen, and it has changed almost completely since then. He's put a lot of work into it, designing it, and so in its current state, I really enjoyed it. I'm going to try to go back today and play it for a second time, just to kind of see if it wasn't a first game nuance. So I like where it's at right now. It could change more in the future because it's a prototype, but I really did enjoy it. So there you go.
Yeah, and I think for me, I tend to avoid the prototypes. Like Tom was saying, it's a little bit of that whole, okay, great, show it to me, but the visuals are a big part of it for me. I want to see the finished product. I don't want to deconstruct your game, so show it to me when it's done. And if I have to build it back up again in my head when I do see the artwork out of context, and then I see the final miniatures out of context, because I played with paper standees, then I have a hard time sort of puzzling that back up in my thinking box. So yeah, I just avoid those. And like Tom was saying too, we have a hard time sometimes knowing what is here for the first time. So one game I've been enjoying that I think is here for the first time is one from Pegasus. And it's a reprint of an older Japanese game, early tiny Japanese game called Sheep and Thief. And they just reprinted it. It's considerably larger, but the components are great. And it's just a nice sort of card drafting, and then tile laying. You sort of lay down the cards like they're tiles. Family weight, nice, quick, light, great game, really engaging. And the artwork actually is fantastic. They really, there's a lot of humor in the game, in the illustrations. So I really like that one. If you haven't heard of it, haven't seen it, swing by, check that one out.
Really, I don't want to dissuade, and I'm not trying to be the contrarian. I don't want to dissuade you from trying prototypes. I don't try them a lot either, but if you know a company's track record, and if you've liked their products in the past, And if they've got a prototype that they want to show you, and you know you've liked their stuff in the past, they're probably, I guess you could say, more often than not, are going to produce at least a similar level of quality. So you know you're going to like their final product, so this gives you an opportunity to try out their mechanisms and see if it's going to be a game that you're going to enjoy and you're not going to be fooled by the flashy look on the back end. So use your own personal knowledge and your own personal experience with these different companies as you're looking at which one of these prototypes you're going to look at.
Well, I wasn't saying that you shouldn't look at prototypes. You can. I just most of the prototypes that are here, and this is not UK in its origins, Gen Con, and all these Essen. It's their first game, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But there's almost an air of desperation. It's like, will you look at my game? And I always say, well, I'll come look at it out of the corner of my eye and glance at it, you know. But that's fine. That desperation's there because please back it. You know, it's coming on July 14th. Right. You'll forget. You know, but it's coming out, and that's great. But then why don't you come back? Yeah. Show us the finished product. Be proud of it. Yeah, that's where I'm running into the unhappiness.
I'll be honest, the first day when we came to the press room, when we were able to go in there and basically walk through all of the different tables that they had set up in the back, I make it a point not to make eye contact with the person that's at the table. I always keep my head on the game and I look at the game, and if I'm interested in what they see, then I'll make eye contact with them because I'm interested in what they have to say. But I don't want to take up their time, and I don't want to take up any of my time if I'm not interested in the game just to listen to the spiel. So it's not that I'm going to try every single prototype that's out there. I choose which ones I want to look at, but you guys should be the same way.
And if I say, tell me a 1-minute pitch, to clarify, that means 60 seconds, not 10 minutes. And that's one thing, if you ever do design a game, you need to be able to give people what's in the game really quick. You can't say, and the really cool thing is if you're playing with Barnabas Jones' character, and on round 5, huh? Why? You know, and people are like so desperate to tell you everything about the game, you should be able to give you the quick description of that game really quickly. And I feel like we said this before, and then someone challenged me to do it.
Huh?
This feels like I'm getting deja vu of the previous.
From a previous Q&A, you mean?
Yeah. All right.
All these guys with their hands up have prototypes here.
It's out back.
Yeah.
If you had the opportunity to play a game with an A-listing celebrity, who would it be, and what would you insist that they played with you? I'll give you a few minutes.
60 seconds. I guess I would pick someone who's got a really amazing voice, like a James Earl Jones, or like a what's his name?
Eric Summerer.
No, someone good.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, thank you. That's what I was thinking of. And then play something like Above and Below or something like that, where they have to do a bunch of reading. Just be like, oh.
That's a good answer.
That's what I want. That's what I'm going for.
Tom?
I think I would pick, I'm not going to be specific, I guess I would pick a few random high-ranking politicians and play some sort of cosmic encounter with them. You know, and say, see how that feels? When I betrayed you? I'm being nebulous.
Yeah, sure. You're the one who started talking about politics first, I'll just say.
Pretty much. Let's see, I would probably, goodness, I was actually literally thinking about this when he said James Earl Jones, but I would like play a game of Imperial Assault with Mark Hamill and James Earl Jones, and they have to script their moves in their voices, of course. And of course, James Earl Jones is going to be the Empire, and he's going to have Darth Vader on his team. So I don't know, maybe something like that. That would be pretty cool.
Okay. Years ago, Eric Sumner really wanted a copy of Merchants of Venus, and you never find it until they reprinted it. So have you guys got a game that you've always really wanted to get hold of, but just never been able to find a copy of?
I don't really have, mean, most of the games I wanted to be reprinted have been done. So I'll say King's Court, but I just got it because, well, my mom had a copy. So she passed away. I said, I want her games. And my dad said, I guess. But I gave it to my brother to ship to me, and he hasn't shipped it yet. So I'm going to say that game, and Andy, ship it to me. But King's Court was a checkers. It's like super checkers, where there's a grid, and inside the grid there's a square. And at the end of the game, whoever has more checkers in that... No, if you ever don't have checkers in that square, you lose. And all the checkers jump like super checkers, though. You can jump over your own pieces, and you can jump as many times as you want. And I really, really like... And the pieces are nice. They look like butterscotch pieces. It's yellow and green. They just have this really cool look to them. So that I would like the Hook and Friends to publish that one in the gift series. That doesn't make any sense.
Hook and Friends, that was nice.
I asked you how to do it.
That's how you do it. That's how it's done.
I pronounce things right once in a while.
No, I don't know. For me, I guess it's every now and then I'll come across some little game that I can't seem to find, and I don't think there is one on that list right now. The last one was a game from, surprise, Bruno Catala. And it's a game called Tomahawk, and it was really hard to get. I guess they didn't make very many. I think it only came out in France. But someone who was visiting the States from France happened to get it for me. This was a year ago or so. But this one was sort of on that list the longest. But I've got it. I was really happy with it. It's a great little game. There isn't quite another one on the list yet that is really a rare chase. So.
Sometimes in the past when we've answered these questions, then people send them to us. So we're not fishing for games.
No, I don't. I'm a little bit like Zee. I don't currently have a game like that on my books anywhere. The last one that was there was Coliseum, the Days of Wonder version, and again, graciously, it was out of the blue. A listener donated a copy of it to me. So.
Well, I would have given you mine.
You wouldn't have. I asked you for yours before because it just sat on its shelf, growing dust. So, yeah, that would be the last one that was on my list. But I don't really have. I guess my brain doesn't work that way.
A way to make me seem shallow, Sam.
You're welcome.
Hi Sam.
Hello.
So I've watched all the recent videos you've made on Memoir 44, including the recent one where you got hustled by Zee.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, following on from the last question, it's one of the games that I'm really happy it's not in stock anywhere, and I wondered if you guys know what's happening with Days and Wonder, whether they're kind of keeping it on and reprinting it, or...
I don't know about reprinting the base set, but I know that they're coming out with new stuff. The last thing that I've heard of, and we talked about it at SN a little bit, and it's hit some snags, was a new revised air pack that they're going to be coming out with. Again, I don't know time scale or time frame or anything like that. And the last I've heard, they were hitting snags with it. So I don't know if it's still in the works, but that's the last thing that they were working towards. As far as, do you mean getting it over here?
Like the base pack.
Yeah, the base pack over here, it's hard to get over here.
Yeah, it's not in stock anywhere I've looked.
Have you looked at cool stuff? I mean, I'm not trying to shit on this. They're usually pretty good in the last time.
It is slowly dwindling.
Yeah.
I think they're going to reprint it. The problem is they've been gobbled up by Asmodee.
Yeah.
So now anything they do has to be run through Asmodee. And if you notice, the bigger a company gets, the more copies a game has to sell for it to be allowed to be in print.
Yeah.
So I don't know every ins and outs. I don't know anything at all, other than I know that the desire for them to reprint it is there, for Days of Wonder at least.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't told us any more than that.
There are so many good games being produced these days that a lot of good ones get missed. I'm thinking Via Nebula, which just didn't get any hype and it's really good if anyone's interested. Have you got any games you'd like to give publicity to?
That we've won?
Give publicity to.
Yeah, I just mentioned it.
Well, I try to do that on Board Game Blender anyway. You know, if I talk about a game, like my under the radar bit is usually about a game that I feel is a great game and doesn't seem to be out there. People don't seem to be playing it. So I try to cover that.
I would have said Ethnos because I didn't, but it just got a wave of publicity
It
after
did.
the
It
Simon
did. Yeah, it was
Cowell.
sort of flying under the radar, and it got a big push.
Can I say Royals? For the Dice Tower Essential.
As long as I say cool stuff again right after.
That no one's buying. But Royals, I think, is a really good game. I wish more people would try it. I think they would enjoy it. And there's a lot of little party games that kind of sometimes get, because they're party games. That new Chameleon game from the Big Potato Games, I think, or Big Potato, or Potato Chip.
Big Kahuna, or
Big Potato. Well, thank you.
Big Potato.
I don't know why I looked over there. Because I heard that from that speaker. They have a new game called Chameleon, which I think is amazing. But sometimes these amazing party games, I think, people don't play them because, oh, it's another party game. But there's some really good stuff. And everything from a Porta, Automobile, more people should be playing Automobile. Automania. Automania is amazing.
Actually, yeah, everything else they do as well.
You're like, huh?
Yeah, I guess for me, I mean, little games tend to get lost in the shuffle a lot because of the size of the game, which in turn, and I know we hate this, makes the company go, huh, I'm going to put it in a bigger box. Great. Thanks for not buying it when it was little. So, yeah, I think bigger games are sort of overshadow the smaller ones, and that's unfortunate.
The one that I mean, it's a new copy of it. I mean, it's a new game, but I'm really kind of antsy to get back home and try it again because my copy's there, and that is Photosynthesis by Blue Orange Games. It's really, first of all, it's a stunning looking game. I mean, it's just cardboard standees, but they're 3D, so they're trees all over it. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to grow your forest of trees using light as your currency to grow your trees, and then you're going to be your trees will be phased out, and you'll score points when they're phased out, and you can continue growing new trees in their place and that type of thing. So it's a really interesting concept, and again, it's a kind of a fresh theme as well. So I have not seen a lot of buzz on it, but it might be just because it's new. Yeah, it's not out yet. So, but give look to that. And Hanami Koji was just recently brought back to my memory, and it had a spike and then it went back down again. So check that one out. It's a little 2-player Japanese themed card game, and it's really, really deep and fun. So try that one out as well.
There's a small game called Vicious Fishes.
Avoid it like the plague.
So now you know if you ever come to Q&A, you want to sit on the edge somewhere.
I'm doing my best.
No.
Yes, you are.
No,
You're doing
we're not blaming you. I'm just saying it's the best place to sit. It's the easiest to get to.
I'm sorry if you've been asked this a million times, but I happen to know 100% of the people sat on this row have backed Rising Sun. And you guys have played it. Just wondered if we wasted our money, or whether it was good, what your thoughts were.
Well, whether or not you wasted your money is going to depend upon whether or not you like it, not based upon what we like. But okay. I will say that I still have not yet played a full game of it, so I'm very apprehensive to give a full, 2 thumbs up type of thing. But of what I've played and the time that I have spent playing the game, I've enjoyed it. Whether or not you will ultimately be you and your group that you play with.
It looks great.
Yeah. No, the minis are off the chain, just like Cool Mini or Not usually does. But the gameplay is also good as well. But I mean, again, with the caveat being that I've not yet played a full game of it.
I backed it.
And so
After playing it or before?
Well, as you know, I give opinions from games.
After you played it or before you played it?
I had played a demo of it.
Yeah.
I give opinions of games just by looking at the box. That's what I've heard. Anyway, so on that, I think it has the potential for me to enjoy it more than Blood Rage. Yeah,
Heresy.
Okay. I really like Blood Rage, but I really like a lot of the things in this game. I was very engrossed in the part that we played. I did not want to stop. I wanted to keep playing. That does not happen often when I'm playing demoing a game. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. You know what? I got to get to another game. I'll finish this later. Rising Sun, I wanted to keep playing.
Yeah.
But you know what? You never waste. You never waste your money on a CMON game anyway. No. You can resell it to someone else.
You can usually find somebody to
except for BC.
Right back off you. What was I going to say? It was
you were going to say that you really enjoyed having us with you on the platform.
That's not exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say that yes, he likened it to Blood Rage just by mentioning the two in the same sentence. They're not very similar at all, other than the fact that they both have very good minis. Other than that, they both play, I think, a lot differently. So they've even said to us they wish they wouldn't have said that this is the spiritual successor to Blood Rage, because that put it in people's minds that, oh, well, if I like Blood Rage, I like Rising Sun. That might not be the case. You might.
Or vice versa,
yeah. So.
But I do think they're in the same bucket. Like, I mean, I think if you like Blood Rage, I think you'll like Rising Sun. I think that's I really feel like they're. You said they're not similar. They're at least 25% similar. There are monsters that you can buy that help you out, but they're not like the be-all, end-all. There is battles where you, by winning them or by losing them, you can get points. I think there's some similarities.
Yeah, but they're 25% similar and 75% dissimilar.
Well, that's one way to look at the glass being half full or empty.
Hey, Zee.
There you are. Yes.
How does your Vimto compare to Iron Brew?
Would you like to taste them back to back?
No. The first sip I had of it was a little too sweet. I was like, whoa, somebody melted Jolly Ranchers in here? It's growing on me. I've also had a lot more Iron Brew at this point, so I might be diabetic.
There's probably a chemical reaction going on in his stomach right now.
Yeah. They're duking it out in there.
Well, this is pretty much the only Iron Brew we're drinking all year. So we have to get that into a week's worth of time. Also, we were given a small amount of it.
I feel like a sommelier right now, like,
You're not going to spit it back in, are you?
No, it's really good. You know what? I might like this stuff better. I take that back. Yes. Iron Brew is the best. We're good? We're good?
I love the collective. That was awesome. Very good. Having other people do your work for you.
Great.
You're doing a good job, Jay.
There's never been a game that you've been on the verge of getting rid of because you didn't like it, or indeed you did get rid of it, but then an expansion came out which made you change your mind or have to rebuy the game again?
Ooh. What was that question? If you got rid of a game and
no, if you got rid of or you're about to get rid of the game and an expansion came out for it that made you rethink.
I'm working on that one right now. I'm getting rid of what's the Viking one?
Champions of Midgard?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's my game. I can get rid of it. What do you mean no?
No, listen, I
take it out back and burn it now.
You would be wrong for doing so too.
I played the expansions for Champions of Midgard. They are really good. They are, well, there's two, and frankly, they probably should have just been one. One of them is not nearly as good as the other one, and I don't remember which is which, but I'll review them soon. But they are to Champions of Midgard as the Lords of Waterdeep expansion was to that game. And I really think they really pump up the game. So that's why I was saying no. Try the expansion.
Yeah, but I don't know if I wouldn't, if I don't like a base game enough to keep it, I'm not going to hang on to it hoping I'll like an expansion eventually.
It's not eventually, it's now.
That wasn't his question. His question was that an expansion came out, not was going to come out.
I know, but we're not answering anyone's questions.
It depends how much again, if I'm considering getting rid of the game, if I'm considering getting rid of the game, no, they've lost me already at that point, you know? That's like reading a bad book and then, oh, they came out with a revised edition. Oh, great, I'm gonna read that again. No. You know, do it right the first time. And again, right, obviously in a very loose term, I didn't like a game, it was fine. But I wouldn't necessarily wait for an expansion to fix it for me.
So you liked the theatrical versions of all the Lord of the Rings movies better than the releases with all the extra footage?
No, I don't think I've actually seen them all, the extended ones.
Oh, no! Now Sam's going to make us watch them all.
Also, Iron Brew is awful.
I can't think of a time that I've done it. I'm trying to think. I think it might have almost happened because I was on the verge of getting rid of Kingsburg because I thought Alien Frontiers was better.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I almost got rid of Kingsburg because I was like, I don't need two games that are similar. And when the expansion came out, I was like, oh, no, I'm not getting rid of that now. But I hadn't actually gotten rid of it. Puerto Rico. I got rid of Puerto Rico and then re-got it back because I like the expansion that much. Also, my opinion on Puerto Rico has been steadily rising over the years. So.
I was just going to ask, just as a follow-on to that last question, are there any games out there which you think are like nearly perfect, but you're just hanging on hoping they're releasing expansion for it?
I was just talking with somebody last night about Blood Rage and said, do you think they're going to come out with any expansions for it? And I said, I don't know, first of all, but for me, Blood Rage is pretty much the perfect game. It gives me everything I want in not a long format. Twilight Imperium 3 gives me everything I want, but I have to sit down and play it for 8 hours. And I don't mind that when I do, don't get me wrong. I don't mind it at all when I do that. But Blood Rage is 2.5 hours. 3 if you have a 5th player, and they're playing slow. And it gives me everything I want. And I don't think they're gonna, I mean, I don't know what they could expand that game with. But again, it's CMON, so they'll figure out something if they want to.
Oh man.
I think
Second Tide was another one, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Second Tide was another one. Hammers of Ragnarok came out and I was like, whoa. Well, it hasn't come out yet, I'm sorry. It's coming
Again, we
out.
can't keep up with that stuff. It's really
coming
tough.
out, yeah.
We're
It's
sorry.
coming out, and I got a couple of messages on our way over here that they're even adding more. Thanks, R2. They're even adding more Hammers of Ragnarok to it, and so that one really brought Second Tide back to the forefront for me.
Man, I know that there's some games, I can't think of them right now. I know there's a lot of good games that need an expansion or I wasn't going to bother with them anymore. Several years ago they came out with Battleship Galaxies, which was a really fun game, but with no expansions, worthless because you built things. It was like a Heroescape in space. And then on the same line, the Magic the Gathering, the board game. Great game. Where are the expansions? I hate Hasbro right now for that. And happily I was able to tell them that this week. So some games need expansions, but if a game doesn't need one when it comes out, you're like, oh yay, an expansion. But I don't, if I really like a game, I don't sit around and go, man, if it just had an expansion. I think
for me it's co-ops. Co-ops are inherently puzzles. Once you solve that puzzle or once you run through that puzzle enough times, it's like, okay, it's the same puzzle. With degrees of variance, right? But I think co-ops are the kinds of games that benefit the most from expansions because they can change up the puzzle, which is why Pandemic Legacy is the puzzle you solve this time and then it's slightly different next month and so on and so on. So yeah, those are the ones. And for me, I don't know, Pandemic Iberia is probably not going to get an expansion because it was sort of not a publicity stunt, but sort of a one-off, right? It was commemorating the 100th anniversary of something. So I doubt, hey man, I don't know history. Spain or something, I don't know.
Well, there went my getting invited to the Spanish conventions.
I speak Spanish. You might still get him. I'll talk to them in English. So yeah, I would love for that game to get an expansion, but probably won't. But that, that sort of thing is what I like to see. And the ones even though I enjoy them, I'm thinking, if they change this up a little bit, or give me more of that, this could be brand new.
Hi. Going back 5 years, when we got into the hobby myself, you know, you had bad games that hadn't been playtested or the art was bad. And like Jen says up there, most games now are fundamentally solid. The art is good, if not just ace. It's been playtested, it's quite balanced. But what sets a great game apart from a good game? Or how do you differentiate yourself in the market? How do you rise to the top of the pile?
Are you saying games were not playtested as much 5 years ago?
No, I'm saying in the past some very poor games have been released, whereas now it seems like there's a level below where that's not going to get out.
Well, then you haven't been on Kickstarter. I promise they're getting out.
But the question, so I suppose, still stands: what elevates a fundamentally solid game to being the next level up, a great game?
Do you mean in our opinion, or like selling?
No, like, in your opinion, kind of what, or how does a game differentiate itself from a similar? Hey, it's a mini-based. I forgot the program. Area control game. Oh, this is a mini-based. You know, how does one distinguish itself from the other? And
for me, it's thematic integration of into the mechanisms. It's where the mechanisms and the theme really work well together.
That mic?
Yeah, no, I forgot. That's what elevates it from slightly good or decent to I want this game in my collection. That's the difference for me. It's when I feel immersed in the theme that the designer set up for the game. And sometimes the mechanisms are fine. They're great. They're fun, but the theme just lacks. For me personally,
so theme is like number one for you.
It's one of the main things I look for. If I enjoy the theme and I'm immersed in the theme while I'm playing the game, then that's what really gives it fun. I mean, I don't mean to be going back to it, but Twilight Imperium 3, it doesn't feel like 8 hours to me. It honestly does not, because I put my head down, I play the game, I pick my head up 8 hours later, and it feels like I, was there for only an hour or two. It just feels that way. I mean, other people, they look at their watch every 5 minutes.
You're still talking about TI3, right?
No, because you've never played TI3. But you get what I'm saying, though, right? I mean, if you're enveloped in the game like that, then that's the most fun for me.
I think it's a hard question to answer because it's personal, right? I think for me, it's two things. Both of them sort of personal, but one a little bit more than the other. The first one is, do you like it, right? I mean, which of the two do you like the best, and what's that come from? Theme, yeah, that's a big one, you know. Just personal preferences, like I prefer the game to be a little shorter, a little longer, a little more immersive, a little more abstracted, whatever. The other one is, does it feel complete? And that doesn't necessarily mean, is it missing things? It also could mean, does it have things it doesn't need? Is it complete? Is it too short by a round and I feel unsatisfied when I want that extra round and it's not there? Or is it too long by a round? Does the artwork seem like it didn't get as much attention as the rest of the game? Is it not complete? And I think that's the best way I can put it. It's sort of a hard thing to put your finger on, and really a game that does well tends to be the most complete to the most people, but it is still very much driven from the point of view of, in my opinion, does it feel complete? Obviously, to someone, the person who made it, the publisher, it's complete.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to our website, if I ranked it an 8 or higher, it's great. So I'm very I'm quantifying this. No, but it's just, what do you like? For me, there's like a whole list of things I look for in a game, but do I want to play it again? Now. Then it's probably great. Like I played Near and Far again last night. Been playing it all week. And that's a great game because I just want to keep playing it. I know Sam thinks Blood Rage is a great game because if you pull a copy out now, he'd leave the Q&A and come over and play it with you. We know this, and that's how I really think that, if you play a game, you're like, oh, that was really fun, and you're like, do you want to play it again? That it's not a great game.
I don't think that logic holds up.
Give me an example.
Would you play TI3 2 times in a row, Sam?
No, well, okay, not right now.
Yes.
But I'm saying, like, if I said, do you want to play TI3? You're like, I just played it, a few weeks ago. I'm not really in the mood to play it again. Then I wouldn't say that for you, that's a great game.
Why not? I'm just not in the mood to play it right now.
Give me a game that you think is great that you don't want to play often.
Ghost Stories.
Then it's not a great game?
It is a great game.
Nope. Nope.
But if I have to like teach it, it's kind of a bear to teach, there's so many factors in that sort of feed that. A great game, not every aspect of what makes a game easy to get to the table is within your control. A game can be amazing, and I still don't want to teach it, or it might be difficult to play because it's a really long game, or whatever. There is, a bunch of factors that tie into that. I just think reducing it to, do I want to play again right now, that's too simple.
I'm not saying right now necessarily, but I mean, I want to play it again. I'm thinking about it, looking forward to the next time I want to play it. But if I play the game and it was fun, but then I forget and someone comes, you remember playing that game? I'm like, what was that game? It's not a great game. A great game should cause you to think upon it. When you're at night, you're like, that was a good game.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was also thinking about as they were hammering that out. Games that make you think about what you did during the game.
Right.
Games that produce stories that you tell people with great excitement later on. That's the mark of a great game. A game that makes you forget what time it is. That's a mark of a great game for me. So yeah, a game that you lose, that you horribly lose at, and you still want to play it again, that's a mark of a great game.
Well, I have to do that or I would never like any games. Last night we played in the near and far, and it came down to the tiebreaker, and I was excited.
What was the tiebreaker again in that game?
Whoever has more honor, and the other person won by the tiebreaker. I was glad, because there was a tiebreaker. All right. But then we were like, we forgot to score this section, and then he actually won by like 20 points. So the whole tiebreaker thing, unnecessary, but oh well.
Very good.
You got him, Jay. He's had his hand up for a while.
Yep.
One is really worth waiting for as well. As a special treat for your loyal viewers, would you ever consider attending a con in full cosplay? And if you did, what would that cosplay be?
We had this on a Q&A.
Yeah, we did, right?
Weeks ago, yeah.
I would easily do it if it was a political type thing where I got to be a president or a general or something like that.
Didn't he just say to leave politics out?
This is twice. He's brought this up twice now. You guys are doing fantastic. He keeps doing this.
No, but I mean anything where it's not run around with swords and stuff, but more of this major event is happening and I'm the king of this country or something to that effect. Like the mega games that happen. That's the kind of cosplay that I'm interested in. I don't really want to run around with a sword because I already look foolish enough as it is. That's more psychological, more thought-provoking. I would gladly do that, and I would dress up whatever. I don't care about that part. I got a drawer full of stuff that I like to dress up in. So, hang on, let's
Anyway, my answer.
I have gladly never seen that drawer.
Let me tweet some pictures. Hold on.
No, but if I go to a Halloween costume thing when they're going out of business, or I always check these places out, go on eBay and order a pile of whatever. It shows up. My kids love it too. If you notice in some videos, we've had masks in the background, and I like that sort of thing. It's very fun for me. In fact, they sold masks here last year, and they're not this year. It's very disappointing. Or are they selling masks and I just missed it? Oh, I got that creepy baby mask?
No idea. I don't know. I guess I would. It doesn't appeal to me really, but I don't. But I'm also like really easygoing, so yeah, whatever. I'll do it. I'll dress up like Sam. Go around punching people.
Because I do that so often.
No, but I'm gonna put that seed out there. That's a long
I guess I don't know. I don't know. I've never First of all, I don't have what I feel is enough money to put into a good cosplay uniform, because I know they're expensive.
I'll cover it.
No, you won't. So I don't know. I mean, I've jokingly talked about, as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, or the, from Ghostbusters, or the, what was that big white thing from that cartoon? Baymax, yeah. I thought about Baymax one time. And, these are thoughts that come to my head, but then they immediately leave because I can't do that, that type of thing. So I'd do that, I'd come dressed up as a Viking, if I had the ability to do it. All that kind of stuff. It's fine. I wouldn't, but see, I would have a certain level. I would want it to I would want it to look good. I wouldn't want to just throw something on. I would want it to make, and I knew I probably wouldn't be able to do that, so I've not really entertained it.
I do not have that problem, as you can tell.
Because the thing for me about it is also, it's great when you first show up somewhere, you're wearing the thing, everybody's like, hey, all great pictures, yeah, that, and then, half an hour after that, you're still wearing that for another 7 hours.
Yeah.
You're sort of walking around in your Viking outfit on a call, looking at board games, and it's like, put on a regular shirt or something.
A friend of ours, Kevin Burkhartsmeyer, Berkey, he's the sheriff of Nottingham. You see him in some of the pictures that come out of some of the cons, and his daughters have a costume company, and they do a fantastic job, and he always looks very good. He's now traveling doing the Viking King on the front of the Spoils of War box, and so he has he has grown out his beard. He's done everything to look exactly spot on to this guy at the front of the Spoils of War box, and I'm always envious of how he's walking around in very, very proper uniforms. It's just really nice.
If CMON were to offer to pay for you to be dressed as your promotional character for Blood Rage, would you?
Yeah, I would. I would do it, yeah. I don't think that'll ever happen, but...
If Tom were to offer to dress you both as your nothing personal characters, would you?
Oh yeah, well,
I don't wear those white tank tops.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah, you're holding.
I don't wear those white tank tops. That would show more skin than you would want to see. I wouldn't want to subject you to that cruelty.
That's true. Also, I retract what I said. I won't cover that up.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think I'm just wearing a suit in it or something. So yeah, sure.
Dirty Zee Garcia.
It's got to be dirty though. Yeah.
Yes.
We love that because they forgot to put quotation marks. They put crazy so and so and this, but in his thing it just said Dirty Zee Garcia. No quotation marks. We're not sure why that happened.
Every time if someone wants me to sign one, every time I get it, that's the first thing I do. I'm like, quotes.
He does have his own corner in the studio though, so it's pretty nasty.
I try to clean.
We have a clean studio. Do not.
I know we do.
I'm very opposed to this whole bachelor fall apart thing. I clean.
Yeah.
I have a Roomba.
Yes.
If we were going to the US for a holiday and we wanted to go to a gaming convention that we've never been to one before, what would be your second best recommendation?
He preempted you there. He knew you were going to say Dice Tower Con.
Dice Tower Cruise.
Oh.
No, but I know what you mean. Really, if you like this convention, Origins. I mean, that's just really.
Yeah, but if you want something different enough to warrant going over there, then.
So if I can't say Origins, Dice Tower Con. Well, you can't take all my options away.
No. Dice Tower Con was your first, be honest.
Oh yeah. If you want to buy games and see a spectacle like nothing else, Gen Con.
Yeah.
Other than that, your best bet is to just look at what regional cons are going on. I hear Geek Way to the West is good. Board Game Geek. There's different cons. It all depends on what you like to do. Do you like to play games and nothing else? Then go to Board Game Geek Con. Do you like to just shop and look at people in cosplay? Then Gen Con. If you like a mix of everything, Origins.
Origins, yeah.
If you like nice people, Dice Tower Con.
Or UKGE.
That's right.
I don't got a point for that.
We've got time
Thank
for
you.
one more question, so make it a good one.
Ask it to Jay.
Don't ask it to me. When you play a game for the first time or do a review, do you have a list of things that you tick off as you go along, or have you just been doing it long enough that you can just do it afterwards without really thinking about it?
One of the things that I try to do is I stick with with the same format where I give an introduction, I give showing you what you get in the game, and then I give a brief, well, as brief as I can get it, run through of the rules with a playthrough, and then my final thoughts afterwards. But if you're asking if I'm looking for certain things within the game, or if are you asking for like our method? Is that what you're talking? Yeah. Well, that's pretty much what I try to stick to that because I feel like that's what people are coming to watch the video for. They want not just an overview of the rules, but they also want to see what it plays like, and then they want my final thoughts as well. One of the things that people talked about the most when I first started making reviews is that I spent too much time on the rule part, and which is what I like to focus on anyway. So I've tried to cut that down and be more concise, and then spend more time talking about the game and my final thoughts. And then just recently, last week, was it last week or the week before, somebody said, is it me, or are the final thoughts sections getting longer in these reviews? And I'm like, well, yeah, it is. And he mentioned it in a negative way, so you can't please everybody all of the time, of course. But
what?
Yes.
The internet?
No. So, no, it's not really so much a rubric of things that I have to do, but it is definitely a thought process where I'm going through these different stages of the review. Yeah.
I think for me,
all right, here I am doing my blog now, and we're in the middle of a Q&A. Zee's about to give an answer. Let's.
Are you kidding me right now?
Oh, I'm doing the Jason thing.
Yes, this is
very awkward.
Sorry, this is awkward.
Jason S.
We'll turn this off. Sorry. I've been waiting to do that.
All right, fine, that's funny. Anyway, I guess for me, it's I don't have a rubric. It's emotion driven. You know, it's how did I feel playing the game. And I think if something that is not emotion-driven is good enough or bad enough to be worth mentioning, it will jump out at me. Okay, like if the cards are particularly good, I'll be like, man, these are good cards. Great, that jumped out enough. You know, if I feel like the paper money is falling apart, I'm like, I will mention that. But everything else is just, how did I feel? You know, am I bored? Am I entertained? Am I anxious? Are the turns giving me a lot of turn angst? Do I really want to take my turn before you take your turn? Do I feel like, if it's a co-op, do I feel like I'm about to lose all the time? Do I like that feeling? Do I get a break from that, right? That's it. That's and I don't know how useful that is to someone else, but it's what I've got, you know?
If you're asking about the methodology and how I go about doing it, first I look at the box, get my opinions. I don't care. I'm judging it by its cover. Then the rules, I judge it by the rules, and I have thrown rules across the room because I can't figure out how to play the game.
That's why my corner's so messy.
But once I'm playing the game, if you've ever played a game with me, you'll know that about halfway through I stop and I say, before anyone knows who's won or lost, I want to know what you think about the game now. Because I want to hear what other people have to say. And then if they say something really good, I can steal it and put it in my review. Or they'll say things I'm like, oh, you're right. And I want to get as many feedback, but I want to know before they won or lost. And then after it's over, I ask again to see how things go. And then I think about it a lot. I do my reviews pretty much just straight up at the camera. But it's not from lack of thinking about it way ahead of time. Like, oh, okay, what am I going to say? What am I going to do here? What did I think about this? And so I'm constantly thinking, from the moment the box comes in the mail, I'm thinking about how I'm going to review it.
Right.
So, all right, well, we have been told to shut up and get out. If you have other questions for us, we will be at the booth at different points throughout the rest of the convention. We do want to run around a little bit and see stuff, but come by and see us there. They don't want us to wait around in here, so catch us over there if at all possible. Thank you guys very much for coming.
Thank you.
So much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.